Well, I think it just started. Well, hello everyone. My name is Rachel Mallet. I'm a research officer in adaptation and climate change at the City of Montreal's Office of Ecological Transition and Resilience. I am with Olivier Caron here, who can you can present yourself.
Yes, hi. My name is Oliver. I'm professor at the University of Quebec in Montreal in geography, and I mostly teach GIS and actually all the GIS work from this presentation has been done by my grad and undergrad students in Montreal here.
Okay. Let's see if it's working. I have Olivier, ça fonctionne?
Yep, you're good. Good.
Good. Well, let's begin. The population infrastructure, sorry, and natural environment are exposed in different ways to the impact of climate hazards. Climate projection shows that the extreme event already observed in Montreal will continue to occur and that there will be an increase in their frequency and duration. The City of Montreal has therefore set ambitious target in terms of ecological transition to reduce the vulnerability of the territory by implementing adaptation measures. We need to know more about the territory's vulnerability to better address their effect. The city has committed to update the climate change vulnerability analysis carried out in 2015 and integrate it in the next urban planning and mobility plan. The government of Quebec also sanctioned Bill 16 to amend the act respecting land use planning and development and other legislative provision to require that the areas subject to urban heat island effect be identified in any urban plan. We began in November 2021 to work on our project with the collaboration of the city's traumatic division, various central services, as well as the regional public health department. We are also working with the Department of Geography to help us update the climate change vulnerability analysis, which makes it possible to identify the sectors most vulnerable to heat waves, heavy rain, destructive storms, drought, and spring flood, and to define priority intervention to be implemented. Our work has been recognized since its release. The 2016 Urban Heat Island Map is the month of June of SC Canada's 2023 map calendar. We also won the Victoria Prize, as you can see on the screen, awarded by the Association of Géométriques Municipales du Québec. Well, let's start with our urban heat island maps. Here is the map produced from the very high resolution airborne images taken between August 3rd and September 3rd, 2016, during the day and night by the city's geometric division. It was then mosaiced based on August 20, 2020. Compared to our first map that we published in 2015, this one includes 5 classes ranging from cool to heat island. To monitor the evolution of the climate plan, the City of Montreal publishes an annual report on the progress of its various actions, as well as its 8 indicators, including the reduction of the surface area of heat island. Maps were therefore produced with the Landsat 8 images at the final resolution of 3 meters. We also produce a principal component analysis in order to detect changes between 2013 and 2019 and in between 2013 and 2023, as you can see on the screen. It is one of the most frequently used multivariate data analysis method to compare data with each other. It makes it possible to summarize the information by reducing the number of variables. This method transforms interrelated variable known as correlated in statistics into new variable uncorrelated from each other. You can see on the map the correlated places that have undergone a change, improvement in blue and the deterioration in red. Here is the first example. We can see a deterioration near the Bois d'Anjou Nature Park, where development in the nearby sector caused part of the wooded area to disappear. You can see that it is now an urban heat island. And here's a sector in the industrial district of Montreal East, where we can see an improvement. Mineralized surface have been left follow, lowering surrounding temperature. And last, there was a major project, waterproofing and drainage work on the roof of the Rosemont Reservoir underground of Etienne Desmarteaux Park that began in 2017. As you can see on the screen, the cool island disappeared during the work, giving way to a heat island. Now we can see in 2023 an improvement since the end of the project. And here is a map we produced for the year 2020 that shows two climatic hazards at work in Montreal. In May and June were marked by very low precipitation, as much of the provinces in Canada. It was the driest sequence Montreal has seen since 1965. Montreal was also facing its second heat waves, the first thing having taken place in May. Maximum temperature reaches 34 degrees on June 22. So the lack of moisture in the soil combined with the heat wave had the effect of draining out the soil. Solar radiation, normally used for evaporation and transpiration, turned into surface heating, increasing the surface area of urban heat island. These kind of maps help us understand the effect of climatic hazards on the population. Olivier?
All right. Yeah, first of all, I just want to say it's 5 p.m. here in Montreal right now. So usually at that time, my daughters are quite starving. So sorry about the noise. Okay. Well, first of all, we also produce a map to locate surface water retention.
Sorry.
All right. Here we go. So we produce a map to locate surface water retention basin. And all this work actually is inspired by the work from a well-known professor from the University of Copenhagen, Professor Bostrom, which created actually a geoprocessing model for urban areas with natural and no-natural drainage. And these area, if you look at just this slide here in blue, those spots and those areas are actually called blue spots. And they are actually they're actually low areas likely to accumulate precipitation during intense rain, and the map does not take into any consideration of the subsurface and the sewer system of Montreal. Actually, all those data at that time when I started the project were actually not available from the water division of the city of Montreal. So here on this slide, on this model, the assumption is we're in a total saturation in terms of soil and subsurface system, and on the scale of the island of Montreal and in this specific modelization, it's a kind of just infinite rain. And the starting date is the starting data for this project, as you can imagine, is basically the key point model, which is a simplified LiDAR version of the 2015, and the resolution was about 1 meters. And now we're going to be we're going to be able to do another version of this map, because Montreal should should actually, we will have actually a new LiDAR coverage in 2024, 2025, something like that. I don't remember. Rachel knows more than me. So you can switch, Rachel. Another slide. Yeah. Okay. No, before. There, one more before. Yeah, here we go. So if you look at here, this slide, it's actually a classification of the thresholds of runoff water basin established with the collaboration of the City of Montreal Water Department. Right now they're actually another project, parallel project about the runoff water at the scale of the City of Montreal, and the specific boil height represent the maximum height of the water to fill the boil, going from 0 to 50 millimeters to greater than 300 millimeters. Next. Here we go. Okay. And then we decided to push the analysis just a little bit further with the master students, Madi Legal, 2 years ago by using the data on the mineral and vegetal surfaces produced by the Geomatics Division of the City of Montreal, which is available now in open data. But at that time, the only sample available was this one. So basically, downtown of Montreal. So in green, just on your left, it's the Montreal, which is the little mountain right in the middle of the island of Montreal, and on your right, it's in gray color. It's the downtown. So as you can see here, it's much in terms of detail. It's much better than just the NDVI model. So from there, the advantage was actually to classify in the soil type with much more details, and then switch next, Rachel. Next slide. Rachel, can you switch?
J'ai tourné à switch.
No. Okay. Here we go. Okay. And then to perform the analysis, the runoff coefficient by soil types were assigned based on the guide from the government of Quebec, 2011, and published by the City of Quebec in 2017. So here you can see basically just the runoff water coefficient assigned for each surfaces, though. So basically concrete, gravel, building, vegetation, water surfaces. And then here on your right, you can see the assigned weight on a scale of 1 to 3. And then from there, switch. Next slide. Okay, and from there, now we were able to modelize with more detail everything actually. So here on this slide, you can see basically the mineralization surfaces in downtown in 2016, the deposit as well, the slope were important as well for the analysis. And from there, we were able to here you go. So now we were able to, with the runoff coefficient by soil, to review the mapping of the basin according to the values of the runoff, and a weighting was developed using an analysis to assess all the rainwater infiltration and improve actually what has been done in the basins. And finally, next one, all this work actually, here you go. All of this work represent the creation of this new tool for improvement of and identification of areas for the vulnerability to torrential rain. And the research report of my students, Medila Galen, is now actually available on the demand of the University of Quebec in Montreal. And we're also actually right now with Maddie and more grad and undergrad students working on the development, just one before, Rachel, one before. Here we go. On the development of simulation model adapted to the territory at the scale of Montreal to different kind of scenarios. The overflow during precipitation of 20, 40, 80, 100 millimeters, precipitation. And here you have two examples actually, where 56% of the basin present on the territory overflow during a precipitation of 20 millimeters. And on the new project with the water department of the City of Montreal, we're going to be able now to include all the subsurface system and the sewer system as well. And finally, for this part, so here's another use of the mineral and vegetal surfaces produced by the city. And so here, what you can see on those two maps, we actually calculated the rate of mineralization and vegetation of surfaces. So each surface was grounded into four categories: mineral, vegetal surface, water, and unclassified. So in the mineral category, we found concrete, gravel, aggregate, paving stones, granite, buildings, non-vegetated surfaces as well. And in the vegetal category, basically you can see street planting, pits, parks, and all the vegetation surfaces basically. So the methods for identifying surface materials cannot determine, of course, the porosity and the compaction, but still, it's getting a good model. So in the surface, in the future, we're going to be able to for sure improve everything here. So now I think, yeah, this is you now, Rachel.
I will take it from here. We've also produced vulnerability analysis to climate change. What does it mean, vulnerability? How do we calculate it? Vulnerability is obtained by multiplying physical sensitivity with the sum of social, territorial, and environmental sensitivities. As you can see on the screen, several data are necessary to calculate the vulnerability index. Open data is an element of success of this analysis. The grid for processing the data is the same for all hazards, a square cell made according to the administrative limits of the agglomeration of Montreal. The 2015 size was 250 meters by 250 meters, as you can see on the top right of the screen. The new cell is 25 meters by 25 meters. So we wanted to get something more precise with our vulnerability and with our new vulnerability analysis. So here is the vulnerability to heat waves. Industrial, commercial, or highly populated areas are the most affected by heat waves. Here is the heavy rainfall vulnerability map of 2022. Topography is the main factor with the most influence of the potential of water accumulation, followed by urbanization. And here is the vulnerability map to the destructive storms. And here is the drought vulnerability map. Sectors with higher density of building and whose soil is clayey are more vulnerable to drought. And finally, our last map is the flood vulnerability, mostly in the Rivière des Prairies, as you can see on the map. An infrastructure and or population located inside a flood zone represent a vulnerability for the territory. Olivier? Well, I will take it from up. Yeah, go.
No, I'm here. Okay, here we go. Okay, perfect. So now we developed this summer a mapping tool targeting priority areas for greening, actually, in order to reduce the impact of heat waves. So three priority levels have thus been defined according to a methodology integrating six criteria. So here you can see what it is. So basically, to heat waves, heat island, canopy index, heat according to public health criteria, socioeconomic vulnerabilities, residential and community land use, and switch next. So no, back. Oh yeah, here we go. So here's an example of priority one sector. So here you can see on this map, basically 5 of 6 criteria are pretty high for park extension neighborhood, which is north part of the island of Montreal. So if you look at more closely on this slide, you can see just in terms of weighting, the heat waves is basically at 100%, urban heat island 75, canopy index 95. So it's as you can see, actually it's quite high. And then if we switch on the other slide, Rachel, you're next. Here we go. So you can see another example of priority 2. And here it's an example on the Rivière des Prairies, which is east side of east, I would say east, northeast. I know it's part of the island. And 2 of 6 criteria are high again, and 3 other are relatively high, but not enough to make it a priority 1. So Canopy Index is at 100%. Living environments is that because of course it's important in terms of living environments to consider all those areas, so it's pretty much at 100% as well. And then everything is 50 or lower than 50. Public health is around 60 as well. And then if we continue, you're going to be able to see here an example of priority three, priority 3. Yeah, so it's an example of the industrial sector of Saint Laurent, which is strongly affected by, of course, as you can imagine, being an industrial sector affected by heat island due to, of course, all the mineralization surface. But it's not a living environment, but it remains a space to be green eventually. So you can see all the way Thailand as well, Canopy Index at 90, but public health vulnerability is at 0, living environments at 0 as well. So if we keep going now, the analysis here, you can see an example of the using tool. So the map can help to identify more where more parks should be developed and where existing parks should be redeveloped in some cases to include more canopy and vegetated areas. So here you can see again the same example from the priority 1. So the case of park extension, which is almost entirely red. Some parks have recently been created or redeveloped in this area or nearby. So as you can see, the tool could help to justify some future projects for the city of Montreal. And now it's you, Rachel. So go ahead.
Yeah. The Office of Ecological Transition and Resilience has developed an ArcGIS online site, bringing together all of the maps that we just presented to you. We started with a web app viewer, but we quickly encountered problems. The map has a complex topology to its precisions, so we had to switch to Experience Builder, which we continue to improve. All maps are in vector, except for the runoff retention basins match, which is a raster because once again, due to its complexity. The maps are grouped by topics to facilitate research. We also applied filters to the layers so that we can view the data by categories. Users can also view the different maps and search by address in ArcGIS online mapping application. So yes, for us, it's innovative data because first of all, well, the data is accessible to the population in a few clicks. It responds to a priority issue to the cities, namely the ecological transition. Data and mapping makes it possible to plan intervention to better adapt a living environment to climate change and to act in favor of a better resilience. It is a robust calculation and geoprocessing method has been developed. So we have this methodology that we keep improving. And the quality validation procedure were central to the success of the project. We've shared throughout the presentation all the links to the open data because all of our work is available to download and to work with. So do not hesitate to write to us. We will be happy to answer you. Thank you for your attention. And as anyone has question?
Check 1, 2. Oui, bonjour. La question est pour Rachel, ici Maxime de Curpcut. La question que je veux te poser, c'est Sur le portail de données ouvertes, on a accès, par exemple, aux vulnérabilités au changement climatique. Et
Oui.
il y a 5 indicateurs, je pense. Je me demande tous les sous-ensembles de données de chacun des indicateurs. Par exemple, tu as montré avec la présentation que, par exemple, la vulnérabilité aux sécheresses, on a le physique. Il y a des variables aussi de recensement qui sont utilisées un peu. Il y a comme 4 indicateurs que tu montrais que vous mettez ensemble pour produire la vulnérabilité. Je me demande
Oui,
si ces
c'est quatre
sous-ensembles de données-là,
sensibilités,
est-ce qu'ils
oui.
sont aussi disponibles sur le portail de données ouvertes de la Ville de Montréal?
Non, les sensibilités ne sont pas disponibles en données ouvertes, mais tu peux m'écrire, on peut en reparler. On a uniquement mis le produit final. Mais n'hésite pas à nous écrire, on va pour nous partager, parce que je pense que c'est le genre d'information qui intéresse votre application, je présume.
Any other questions? I think that's it for questions.
That's it? OK.
Most awkward.